An unexpected delay in the National Insurance Board audit. Find out why coming up.
Also ahead, the rumor the Christies are refuting.
And a tourism touchdown for the Bahamas. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
A forensic audit of the National Insurance Board, delayed from December, is still not complete. That from the Minister with responsibility for NIB, Shane Gibson. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keisha Adderley.
And I'm Candino Knowles. Well, Jiminita Swain reports that Minister Gibson wanted to ensure the auditors have all the time they need to complete their job without any pressure.
National Insurance Minister Shane Gibson says he does not have the report in hand. He says he expected to have it since December 15th last year. However, he says as soon as it becomes available, he will release its findings. But for now, he says the auditors have requested additional information from NIB, hence a delay.
Since then, we've spoken with them on several occasions, and because of the volume of work and information being received, it became difficult for them to meet that December deadline. And so we've not pressured them into trying to commit on any specific date since then, simply because it is more important for us to get the information factually as to what took place, rather than trying to rush the report just to say we have the completion of the report. And so at this stage now, I have no idea when the report will be submitted.
Minister Gibson says officials at NIB have provided auditors at Grant Thornton, Bahamas with all information they've requested to complete the report, and he expects it to reveal what the facts are.
The initial investigation is really concentrating on events that happened prior to May 7th, prior to us becoming the government. And depending on what comes in the report will determine whether or not we have to make any sort of adjustment, restructuring the NIB, and really to comment on the fact that we will definitely be restructuring will be inappropriate, because I have no idea what's in the report. And so I prefer to look at the report first, digest it, discuss it with my colleagues.
Minister Gibson says the staff has no problems voicing their concerns, and from all indications, all is well.
Over the termination of the status quo, right, where they were having things done the way they wanted to be done, and now that they are unable to do things their way anymore, then they try to project this image as the entire staff is upset. I have no doubt, after speaking to the majority of the employees at NIB, that the morale is at an all-time high.
Minister Gibson says the auditors will not be pressured to complete their report. Although still without a specific deadline, he says that the work is nearing completion. Jiminita Swain, ZNS Network News.
Well, still on NIB, attorney Alfred Sears has fired NIB Chairman Gregory Moss should be held in contempt of court and jailed. In this report from Fern Carey, we hear what brought on the contempt hearing before Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett today.
Attorneys involved in the contempt case involving National Insurance Board Director Algernon Cargill and former NIB Chairman Greg Moss did not get into their substantive arguments as anticipated Monday. This after Moss's attorney Crystal Roll objected to it proceeding on the grounds that the matter had not been properly filed in accordance with court rules. Alfred Sears, who's representing Cargill, is seeking a committal order for contempt on Moss, which means he wants Moss jailed for breaching a court order. That court order, issued by Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett last November, blocked both sides from repeating words of an allegation contained in an email or letter released late last year, including similar allegations complained of by Cargill. Those allegations relate to an NIB corporate credit card, which Moss claims Cargill had for his personal use. Says also contends Moss breached the court order by issuing a press statement back on January 1st, which contained erroneous, inaccurate information and allegations of corruption and ineptitude against Cargill that defamed his character. Says also contends Moss was provided with a car, an iPad, and the corporate credit card as part of the package provided to him as chairman, something he said no other chairman in the history of NIB had ever received. He said Cargill did not have the authority to issue those items, yet Moss allegedly requested them. However, Moss's attorney, Christie, noted that Moss had not breached the court order as there was nothing in his statement that defamed Cargill, and she asked the court not to grant the committal application. Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett will rule in the matter at a later date. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
In other news, attorney Wayne Monroe filed written documents with the Supreme Court Registry today, which will allow for a formal hearing into the legality of web shop operators. Monroe represents a number of web shop operators, while attorney Alfred Sears will appear on behalf of Island Game. The lawsuit comes on the heels of a no vote in the January 28th gaming referendum and a subsequent order by the government for web shop operators to shut down immediately or face arrest. Last week, Senior Justice John Isaacs issued a conservatory order until the application can be heard and any further order is made by a judge. The order also prevents the government and law enforcement officers from taking action to close down web shops or prosecute web shop operators and customers pending the outcome of the court case. Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett will also hear that case.
It's been nearly a week now since the newest Court of Appeal justice has taken his seat on the bench. Justice K. Neville Adderley joins Justices Christopher Blackmun, Stanley John, Abdoulaye Conte, and Court of Appeal President Anita Allen. Having dealt with hundreds of cases from criminal to civil, in the last decade as a Supreme Court judge, Justice Adderley shared with us his thoughts on the country's judicial system, which he says is working.
I think it's a good system. It's a very efficient system. I think particularly the civil side of it, which was my emphasis, but also on the criminal side, there are a lot of things that are outside of the control of the judges and outside the control of the system. But in terms of the expertise of the judiciary, in terms of the expertise of the staff, I think that we can hold on throughout the region and perhaps throughout the world.
Now, that was Justice Adderley speaking with us following his swearing in at Government House this past week. The new Court of Appeal justice also defended the judiciary against criticism that the system is not effective and is contributing to the country's increasing crime. In fact, Justice Adderley believes the country's judicial system is perhaps the best in this region.
Very much so. I think, the Court of Appeal is, for many, many people, the last appeal in their actions, whether it be criminal or civil, because not many people can afford to go to the Privy Council. And so, in terms of looking forward, one is anticipating that your decisions are going to be that much more important. And so whatever care and however meticulous one was at the Supreme Court level, one will have to be all the more meticulous at the Court of Appeal level because you are making a final determination on people's rights.
In our first look at weather, we had a chilly weekend and there will be a cool start to the new week. But outside of our studios just now, we have a temperature of 72 degrees, just a few clouds floating around. Relative humidity on the dry side, 50%. Winds out of the southeast at 7 knots. Your barometric pressure 1,017.7 millibars. That's 30.05 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned. We have family album temperatures, boating and travel forecasts still to come.
Thanks, Basil. Well, the Christie family says there's no truth to a tabloid report that the Prime Minister suffered a stroke or any other illness. In a statement released today, the family said the Prime Minister's health remains a non-issue, calling the report erroneous. On Saturday past, Prime Minister Christie and his family laid to rest the Prime Minister's older brother Percy. At the gravesite, the Prime Minister was informed of the grave condition of a close friend who was admitted to Doctors Hospital. The Prime Minister later left the funeral and visited his friend in hospital. The Christie family says it would like the public to know that the Prime Minister is well and can be reached at the office of the Prime Minister in Cable Beach. No word on whether the family will actually seek legal action against the tabloid.
Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, we have the latest on the murder of an elderly woman.
And the Bahamas, a big hit during the Super Bowl yesterday. The Bahamas Tonight continues right after this.